I was paying my brother's rent, car note, and cell phone bill while he looked for a job. One day I drove past a club and saw him in VIP popping bottles. He said, "It's networking." I stopped paying everything. A week later, he showed up to my apartment with our mom. She had tears in her eyes as she said, "He's homeless now. Are you really okay with that?" Then my brother looked me dead in the eye and said, "This is all because you're bitter you'll never have what I have." I'm 35. I live in Columbus, Ohio in a plain one-bedroom apartment near Groveport. Nothing fancy. It's clean, it's quiet, and I can afford it on my IT salary. I work for a mid-sized logistics company. I'm not rich, but I live within my means. I've always done the right thing, go to work, pay bills, help family when they need it. My younger brother Marcus is 30. He's always been different. Flashy. Talkative. He was the kind of guy people just liked. In high school, girls followed him around and teachers gave him second chances. Me? I was the older, quieter one who stayed out of trouble and followed the rules. Marcus used to sell cars. He was good at it too. Too good, maybe. He could convince people to buy something they didn't even want. But about a year ago, he told me he quit his job. Said the stress was messing with his health, that his manager was toxic. He looked rough at the time. Skin a little dull, bags under his eyes. He told me he just needed a break. A couple of months to get back on his feet. I said okay. I told him he could crash at my place here and there. I helped him with his bills, his rent, car note, phone bill. He said it was temporary. 2 months, maybe 3. I made it 6 before I even said a word. In month 4, I noticed he wasn't applying to anything serious. Just vague talk about startups and creative consulting. When I asked for details, he changed the subject. By month 5, I was covering everything. His rent on the west side, $875. His car note on a Dodge Charger, $412. Phone bill, $109. He kept saying interviews were lined up. He just needed to keep his image right for opportunities. That meant haircuts every week, new clothes from Zara. Expensive shoes, he said, were investments. He started showing up at my place less and less. When he did, it was to grab food or do laundry. He looked good. Too good. Always fresh clothes, new cologne, even gold chains. When I asked how, he said, "Sometimes you gotta spend to make money. It's all part of the game." I swallowed my doubt. I figured maybe he had a side hustle. Maybe he was building something I couldn't see yet. After all, he was still my brother. Then came the night I saw him. I was driving home from dinner with coworkers. We went out for sushi to celebrate a guy's promotion. Not mine, I was passed over again, but I kept it inside. On the way back, I took a detour to avoid construction downtown and passed Luna's, a flashy club near the brewery district. I never go there. It's the kind of place where people rent bottles to look rich for Instagram. At the red light, I heard someone yell, "I.e. Marcus." I turned my head and nearly choked. There he was. On the second floor balcony roped off with velvet lines. VIP. Bottle service. 3 women next to him. One was pouring champagne into his mouth. He was wearing a white button-down, half-open, gold chain shining under the lights. Laughing like he didn't have a care in the world. I pulled into a side lot and waited. I don't know what I was hoping for. Maybe I thought I'd catch him sneaking out the back, embarrassed. Instead, he strutted out the front like he owned the place. I stepped in front of him. His smile dropped for a second, then came back just as fast. "Yo, what's up?" he said like he didn't know what this was. "You said you were broke." He smiled again. "You'd be surprised who you meet in VIP. It's networking." "Networking? Relax. You wouldn't understand." I walked away before I said something I couldn't take back. Got in my car. Drove home in silence. I sat at my desk for 3 hours, staring at the budget spreadsheet where I tracked every dollar I'd spent on him. 8 months. Over $9,000. At 2:13 a.m. I sent him a text, "Your support just ended. Good luck." He read it and didn't reply. 3 days passed. Then 4. I thought maybe he was ignoring me, maybe trying to ride it out. Then on day 6, I got a knock at the door. I looked through the peephole and saw my mother standing there with Marcus behind her. I opened it. My mom was crying. Full tears. No makeup. She looked like she hadn't slept. "He's homeless now," she said. "His landlord changed the locks. He's been sleeping in his car. He has nowhere to go." "You really okay with that?" Marcus didn't look sad. He looked angry. Cold. He stepped forward and said, "This is all because you're bitter you'll never have what I have." I didn't say anything. I just stared at him. My mom grabbed my hand. "Please, just let him stay a few nights. He's still your brother." I stepped back and closed the door without another word. They stood out there for 10 minutes. She cried. He cursed. I watched through the peephole the whole time. Eventually they left. That night, I created a new folder on my desktop called Collection Plan. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to fight. I was going to take back every single dollar, one way or another. After that night, I didn't hear from Marcus or my mom for about 2 weeks. It was quiet. Too quiet. Part of me thought maybe he finally hit rock bottom and decided to get serious. But a bigger part of me knew better. Marcus doesn't crash. He lands on other people. Then I got a call from my cousin Terrence. Terrence works security at a small casino in Dayton. He's a straight shooter, always has been. He called me up around 10 p.m. one night and said, "Hey, your brother was in here last night. You still helping him out?" I said no. Why? He was in the high-limit room. Lost $1,000 at blackjack in less than an hour. Told the girl he was with it was nothing, said he's got people who keep him comfortable. Just thought you should know. I thanked him, hung up, and sat in silence. So Marcus wasn't just out at clubs. He was gambling. Probably spending my money, or what was left of it, on drinks, girls, and high-stakes cards. All while my mother cried at my door. I printed every payment I made on his behalf and attached receipts, bank transfers, Zelle screenshots, credit card charges where I covered his phone bill. I put them in a binder and wrote at the top, "Marcus owes me." I wasn't planning to take him to court yet, but I wanted it in writing, organized, tight. I made copies and mailed one to my mom, too. No note. Just the binder. That opened the floodgates. She called the next night, furious. "Why would you do that? Why are you treating him like a stranger? He treated me like a bank. He's going through something." "No, Mom. I went through something. He's living like a damn rapper while I'm here working 60 hours a week and skipping lunch to save money. You're his brother, no? I was his wallet." She hung up. The next week, Marcus texted me out of nowhere. Just one sentence. "I hope you feel like a man now." I didn't reply. A few days later, I got a call from my leasing office. They said someone had asked about taking over my lease. I was confused and said I never authorized that. The lady said a Marcus Fields said he was your roommate and wanted to be added to your lease. My stomach dropped. He was trying to get back in through paperwork. I told them no. I also told them he was never legally a tenant. They flagged it and promised to keep an eye out. That night, I saw him across the street from my building. He was leaning against a black Nissan. Put up. Just watching. I walked outside. He didn't move. I got close and said, "You need to leave." "You really think you're better than me, huh?" "No. I just think I'm done." He scoffed. "You've always hated that I shine. I paid for your shine." He got in the car and peeled off. The next day, my car had a deep scratch running across the passenger side. I checked the cameras from the lot. Couldn't see his face, but the car matched. Black Nissan. Same rims. That was the final straw. I called in a favor from an old friend who works for a collections agency. We'd gone to community college together and stayed in touch. I gave her the binder. She read through it and said, "You want to go through legal small claims, or you want me to make some calls?" "Both," I said. She smiled. And that's when things started to change. 2 weeks after I gave the binder to my friend at the collections agency, things started moving. She filed a formal demand letter to Marcus, certified mail, tracked delivery. It spelled out the full amount, $9,384.42. That included everything I'd paid on his behalf, plus late fees, plus processing fees. We knew he wouldn't pay, but that wasn't the point. We were establishing a trail. Meanwhile, she did a soft pull on his credit and found something interesting. Marcus had opened 2 new credit cards in the past 6 months. Both maxed out. I didn't even know he had decent credit left. Turns out, he'd used my address on one of the applications. That was his mistake. That gave me legal standing to dispute any debt attached to my address, which meant I could flag the card for fraud and file a formal complaint, which I did. The bank started investigating. It was a slow process, but it put heat on him. He couldn't use that card anymore. And once the report hit his credit, his score dropped fast. I didn't hear from him for a while. Not directly. Then my mom called again. This time she wasn't yelling. She sounded defeated. I didn't know he did that, she said. He told me you offered to help. Offered. He said you offered to co-sign. That you believed in him. I laughed out loud. Couldn't help it. You believed that? I wanted to. He's my son. Then go live with him. She was quiet. Then she said he got evicted again. This time from the girl's place he was staying at. She found out he was talking to someone else. That made me pause. Not because I felt bad, but because I realized Marcus was slipping. He was out of moves. Out of places to crash. Out of charm. The next twist came a week later. My job's security department flagged my email. They said someone tried to access our employee portal using my credentials. From a different IP address. They traced it. It was registered to an apartment Marcus used to live in. I didn't know what he was planning to do, but I filed a police report. Identity theft. Attempted fraud. I attached the credit card paperwork too. Then I called him. He picked up. You messed with the wrong one, I said. He laughed. You think you're gonna win? You think this makes you smart? No, but it makes me done. I hope this little revenge show was worth it. It's not over yet. I hung up, and I meant it. Because I was just getting started. The charges took a couple months to move through. I kept my head down at work. Didn't say much to anyone. I focused on documenting everything: calls, texts, screenshots, bank statements, credit pulls. My friend at the collections agency helped me push the fraud case with the bank. Between that and the attempted portal breach at my job, it was enough to get the police to take it seriously. A detective called me in for a formal interview. I told him everything. Held nothing back. And I had proof for every word. A few weeks later, Marcus was picked up on a warrant. Fraud. Identity theft. Attempted unauthorized access to a secure corporate system. They didn't put him in prison, not yet. But he sat in county for 2 weeks until someone posted bond. I heard it wasn't our mom. She'd finally stopped answering his calls. She even called me once and apologized. Actually apologized. Said, I was wrong. I didn't know what he was doing behind my back. I didn't say much. I just told her. He made his choices. Then I went quiet again. Marcus tried to call me from jail. Twice. I ignored it. The man had told me I'd never have what he had. I guess he was right because I wasn't in handcuffs, broke, or begging. The final twist came when I found out who bailed him out. It was his ex, the same girl who kicked him out. She took pity on him. Said she just didn't want to see him rot in jail. But 3 days later, her car was missing. She filed a police report. Turns out Marcus took it. Drove it to Cleveland to stay with some old party friends. They kicked him out after 2 nights. He got caught trying to sell one of their watches. Eventually, the car was found ditched in a parking garage in Akron. No gas. Tires slashed. That girl stopped trying to help him after that. He spiraled fast after that. Burned every bridge. Lost every contact. Even his old dealer wouldn't front him anything. I didn't gloat. I didn't celebrate. I just watched it happen like a building collapsing in slow motion. Quiet. Messy. Inevitable. A month later, I got a certified letter. Marcus was being sued by a payday loan place. $2,700. He'd used me as a reference without telling me. I sent them a copy of the police report. They dropped my name from the file. I heard he started sleeping in an abandoned trailer on the east side. Someone tried to rob him there. He got a black eye. No insurance. No help. I saw him once after that. It was outside a gas station near Parsons Avenue. He was dirty. Face thinner. Shoes worn out. He walked past me like he didn't recognize me. Or like he couldn't decide if it was better to beg or pretend I didn't exist. I let him pass. I stood there, filling up my car, watching him walk away. Part of me wanted to yell, "You did this to yourself." But I didn't. I just got in my car, shut the door, and drove off. He's still out there somewhere, probably still telling people he used to run things. Still blaming everybody else. And me? I paid off my credit cards. Cleaned my credit. Got a better job at a cybersecurity firm uptown. Moved into a small house on the edge of Bexley. Nothing fancy. Just quiet. Paid for. Mine. I made a lot of mistakes helping him. I let him use me. I ignored the signs. I stayed quiet too long. That's on me. But I finished it my way. No yelling. No fists. Just the truth, receipts, and a locked door. And the next time someone tells me it's networking, I'll know exactly what kind of snake I'm dealing with.